I'm used to performing in front of people, but this one was different because playing guitar by yourself, when you're doing something, you see instant reactions and everybody has an opinion on it. It's kind of the same way in sports too.
Did you see instant reaction while you were on stage?
I didn't look, no.
Okay.
I just walked up there and it's like, man, oh my God. What have I done? I'm in too deep.
Salud, cheers. So you picked 3 items, which I think would be extremely difficult to describe intimate moments where you have celebrated privately or it means something significant to you in your life. Tell us what this first one is.
So this is a pick. I played guitar. It was one of those things that kind of helped me. Coach wasn't having to retire. I didn't know I was gonna have to do all that stuff, but music became an intense passion of mine, and that kind of started this rabbit hole of information. And then, after that, I made so many friends, had some great experiences, and just been able to connect on so many different levels because I love it.
When you retired, it wasn't your choice. Like, it was a tough moment for you. What were the lessons like in the beginning? These were the moments I had to learn how to be a beginner again. That was the toughest part. And I always saw myself playing to the age I am now. I had to stop playing that day. I was 31 years old. And I started having to think about what I love doing. And I didn't have an answer for that right away. And I started learning how to play the guitar. And so I started pretty much, I got to play on stage with Buddy Guy in Chicago at his club. I'll cut to the chase. and Dee and Gab were in the stands. So my first time playing on stage, with Buddy Guy on stage, and it was a crazy experience. Just to be able to connect with a legend like that, it was cool. And it was like things for me that told me that I'm in the right place. I should be doing this. I want to hear about the sound and what it felt like to be on stage with Buddy Guy and performing.
So I was nervous. So we go up and I tell him this. I said, man, I'm nervous, Buddy Guy. What did you do on your first experience playing in front of people? And I don't know what year he said it was. He said it was in Louisiana. He was very nervous and the guy just gave him something to drink. Like, yeah, take a shot of this and you'll be fine, young fella. You know a couple of licks, right? And he's like, yeah. And so he said he, has a drink, feels a little better, goes up there, but plays with his back to the crowd, the whole time.
Wow.
And once he told me that, I said, all right, I know a couple of licks. I'm gonna just go out here and do it. And so we had a drink together, and then he started his portion of the show, and eventually he brought me up there. And so I'm used to performing in front of people, but this one was different because playing guitar by yourself, you see instant reactions and everybody has an opinion on it. It's kind of the same way in sports too, but.
Did you see instant reaction while you were on stage?
I didn't look, no.
Okay.
I just walked up there and it's like, man, oh my God. What have I done? I'm in too deep. But I can't go back. It was nerve-wracking being under the lights and having people looking at what you're doing, but more so for me, just getting over that fear. That was like the main important thing for me. I've been talking about it and I just wanted to do something and just put myself out there, most importantly.
Was it a moment of acceptance? This is where I'm at. One passion replaces another.
The goal was reached. I can't say that I was gonna be a professional guitar player or anything like that. I know that's not gonna happen.
I can say you can. Guitar! Roll it in hot! It's not here? Okay. Kidding.
But I still had basketball in my heart at that time, but I do think that was one of definitely the first public transitions of saying, okay, I do this as well. And
that, you know, that gave me inspiration to keep diving deeper into music, really. And I found the things that I love doing. I found, you know, connections that I made for life. And now I'm, you know, starting the record label and trying to get that thing off the ground. But more so, getting into the nicks and the knacks of the business, learning it, and, you know, being creative at the same time.
Now that I know that you're a talent scout, Do-re-mi.
It's pretty good. We put a little tune on it. You know what I mean?
You picked a photo, a high school photo of yourself. What does it mean for you in representing young Chris Bosh?
So, this is a state and national championship team, Lincoln High School out of Dallas. And I chose this photo really because I felt like this was one of my beginnings, pretty much when I knew that I was gonna play basketball and everything was happening at that time. And this team doesn't get enough credit, that's my job. But we're Dallas Lincoln High School in Humanities and Communications Magnet. That's where I went to high school back in the day. We finished #1 in the country that year in 2002, along with winning state championship. Magical ride, one of those, like it's pretty much like watching Friday Night Lights or Hoosiers, but they never lose. We went 40-0 that year. You know, I don't know how many public schools actually won a national championship for high school, but we were there. And the part that makes me the most proud, nobody really gave us anything. You know, we had to take everything, each person in that picture. We worked together as a team. And to be honest with you, just in the community of South Dallas, you know, some would call it the hood, you know, that was the best time, you know. It was all good. Everybody was happy. There was so much potential in these young men at that time. And, you know, being from where we're from, usually it's about football. Usually it's about East Coast private schools. We were just young and hungry and, you know, just very optimistic about everything.
What does that mean for you? How does that set the tone for the rest of your career in basketball?
I mean, it made me feel like I was destined for greatness. I wanted more, pretty much.
You wanted more. What was more at that time for you?
You know, being an All-American. And then I wanted to eventually go to the NBA. I didn't know that this next summer, 1 year after this picture, I'd be declaring for the draft and getting drafted. You know, so it happens quick. That's why I love this picture, because, you know, I'm just looking, I don't have any hair on my face. I look like, you know, a little boy. I just knew I was grown, you know, at the time. So many heartbreaks and stories in between that time, but it still worked out.
I was really surprised that you have a ballot here. So tell me what that means.
I helped student athletes get something across that I felt was near and dear to my heart. Huge initiative, but it's to give student athletes a day off to be able to go vote. The last election was very polarizing, and I always find it very fascinating that we always are in this conversation of voting, and I know what it feels like to be a student athlete, and it's pretty much like working 2 full-time jobs. And these student athletes, they had an initiative pushing to the NCAA to give all athletes off the day of voting.
You presented it to the NCAA and it passed, and so now what's the next move there? You
know, now it's in the student athletes' hands. They're gonna have to take the initiative to be responsible. So we want to empower the citizens, and it does count. And we want to let people know that it's important from an early age, but from 18, if you're playing, you know, if you're in sports and you're a student athlete, there's no more excuses to say, I'm too tired, I can't, coach won't let me. We're taking all of that stuff out. The NCAA passed it, and we're excited to see what happens.
Well, I salute you. Cheers to that. I love this.
Cheers to that.